Hello and welcome to the Halloween edition of the Late Mail. If you haven't already taken the time, please help Murad out with your name, your location, your team you support, and let's get into the Late Mail. That's the end of the Halloween get up. Hopefully everyone enjoyed the start of that. And look, we love to have a bit of fun on the Friday night show, and I think that's the best way of doing it. So yeah, I'm quite excited to do it. This is actually a massive show. Probably the best one I've come up with yet. So hopefully you've enjoyed the beginning of it, because we're going to start big and we're going to continue on going bigger. So yeah, I'm really excited. We've got so much to get into, so much to talk about. Let's just jump straight in. So before we go any further though, I do have to give a shout out to the sponsor of the Late Mail this week. It is Footium Club. There is a link and a referral code in the stream, the video description, etc, etc. But yeah, go and check it out. It's like Football Manager mixed with FIFA Ultimate Team. You can manage your own team, you can play the games yourself, and you can actually win prizes based on how well your team goes during the season. I'm playing it, so if you think you can come beat me, by all means, go and check it out. You can try it for free as well, so you don't have to buy it before. So go and check it out. Very much thank you to them. They have been amazing, and very first person to ever sponsor the D-Unit. So thank you very much, Footium. You guys have been amazing. And with that being said, let's get into the main event. So hot off the press for game week 10, and it is, well, let's start with Sunderland. Alderete is getting better. So he's returning from concussion, and hopefully he'll be good. He has been returning to training, and he should be good to go this weekend. On to Chelsea. Palmer met Maresca in the canteen for breakfast. And basically Maresca said to Palmer that he would tell the public, the press, that he'd be available in 1 week. Palmer laughed. It's a wait and see. I'm just put that in there because I thought it was quite funny the way Maresca talked about it in his press conference. And yeah, I mean, let's be honest. I don't think Palmer's going to be fit for a considerable amount of time still. I reckon he's at least a month away before he gets back into games, let alone actually being able to contribute to them. So we'll just have to wait and see. He talked about the red card for Delap. And yeah, so honestly, I've just seen the chat. That mask is so hot, and I'm in the Kalgoorlie, and today was 33 degrees, and wearing that made it feel like it was 50. So yeah, Caicedo, Enzo and Pedro are all available as well. So that's good news. If you've got any of those players, I don't have any of them, but if you do, that's good. Obviously, it's a game-by-game proposition with all of those players as well. And then he talked about set pieces and the need to attack them and defend them, which I thought was interesting because I didn't think Chelsea had been that bad on set pieces so far, but apparently they must have been a little bit meh. I'm not really too sure. It was a bit of a weird comment that he made in that one. So on to West Ham. Mavropanos and Fulkrug and Urfi are still out. Sales has had surgery, so he's definitely going to be no good as well. Fulkrug's back on the grass, but he's not going to be available for this game, so I wouldn't be worrying too much about any of them. On to Burnley, and as usual, Burnley absolutely crickets in terms of team news and information. I don't even know why Scott Parker does team news at this moment in time, because he never actually provides any update on the fitness of his players. So I've got no idea. He mentioned nothing about him. He talked about the Fortress, which is meant to be Turf Moor, and taking on Arsenal, and whether they've got any hope. Let's be honest, Burnley have no hope of winning this game. If they get it to somehow 1-0 or 2-0, they've done well. But realistically, I expect Arsenal to score at least 3 goals here, I think. On to Leeds. No one is missing at all. They're all fine. They're all ready and available. Even Notto, who has been out for quite some time, is available according to Daniel Farke, which is good for Leeds. Maybe not so good for Brighton, but good for Leeds. On to Liverpool. Now, this is where it got a little bit interesting. Now, I've read all the comments and the quotes from Arnie Slot. So, Isaac and Jones are 99.9% out. Just say they're out, mate. Just say they're out. There's no... I mean, that's just stupid. Just say they're out and stop making excuses. Stop trying to deflect from the fact that you've literally lost 4 Premier League games in a row. You've lost, I think it's 5 of 6 or 6 of 7 now. Gravenberch's trained... They're going to make a call on him whether he starts this game or not. But in reality, who the hell has Gravenberch in their teams? He then just proceeded to provide, and look, let's be honest, I enjoyed this bit a little bit because I'm a Man United fan, but essentially a bunch of excuses about poor form. I'm telling you, Slot is exceptionally lucky that last season he won the league. Because if he didn't win the league, he'd be on the chopping block and we'd probably be saying goodbye to Arnie Slot because they've been a poor. I actually don't think they beat Villa. I don't think they beat Real Madrid, and they don't beat Man City. So the last time I checked, that's going to be about 9 and 10 games that potentially he loses. How many can he lose before they go? I'm not 100% sure. On to Brighton. Matoma is back on the grass. So I love the back on the grass. I've never heard that until this season, and now we're just talking about back on the grass all the time. It makes no sense to me. But essentially it means they're one step closer to being back in the squad in order to be able to play. So that's good for Matoma. Apparently, they're also hoping he'll be available before the international break. It's the same squad as that which played Arsenal. So they lost to Arsenal. Arsenal, as usual, kept the clean sheet. Obviously, they're not playing Arsenal this weekend, so they should be much better. And obviously, Leeds should be, you hope, accommodating. It's going to be interesting. When my score predictions to that one later, I'm not sure which way that one's actually going to go. So on to Crystal Palace. Now, this is really interesting because I have the conundrum, and you can see there's a poll in the chat at the moment. Should I take a hit for Mateta this week to get rid of Bowen and then play him over Chalobah? Please make sure you answer that because I will be keeping an eye on that. So Nketiah hamstring's going to be out. So Mateta's going to be playing literally, well, he's locked to play literally until Nketiah comes back. The big news, though, that concerns me a lot is that Wharton is going to be missing with illness. Now, I think that Palace are a significantly better team when Wharton is fit and available, so that is big news there. Riyad Doucouré and Cropper, whatever you call his name, they all remain out. Now, he said that there will be a call made on Richards in terms of whether he starts, whether he doesn't. He didn't really, he said he was fit, but basically said that they'll make a call on him for the game. I'd imagine he starts. I can't see a reason why not. Wolves, I mean, what is there to say about Wolves? Doherty and Gomez are out injured after the Carabao Cup game. Chawomi is still out, and let's be honest, Pereira is probably going to be out in the international break because I just don't see any way that he survives post then. It just seems unfathomable to me. In terms of Bournemouth, Ivan Nilsson, he's trained. He's back a lot quicker than I thought. I've done calves. I've done both my calves, and he obviously didn't do his calf that well because you wouldn't be back this quickly. So he could actually make the trip to Manchester City. And other than that, there are no other injury concerns for Bournemouth. So they go to the City ground, sorry, the Etihad Stadium, not the City ground. That's where Man United are going. And they pretty much go as full strength. And yeah, that's interesting. Aston Villa, now, if you've got, is it Harvey Elliott? Jamie Elliott? Harvey Elliott. If you've got Harvey Elliott, I knew that was, I always get that one confused because there's a football player over here that plays and he's called Jamie and this one's called Harvey. He can't play against Liverpool. He's on loan, remember. He's not been sold, so that's his parent club. It's a bit like Jack Grealish can't play Man City. Elliott can't play Liverpool in this game. Buendia potentially will be available for the midweek game, but he's not going to make this game. Tielemans is still out, and Garcia, whoever the hell that is, he is still a few weeks away as well. Now, on to Fulham, and where's Colm when you need him? Because I think Colm's not feeling the best today, but essentially, great news if you've still got Anderson in your team, because let's be honest, if there's a game where Anderson is likely to keep a clean sheet, it's against this Wolves team. So apparently he's going to be fit and should be in. In terms of the rest, so Emile Smith-Rowe, Chukwueze, Muniz, Wilson, they're all in contention. Now, he didn't say they'd start, but he said that they're all in contention. Then he talked about Raul Jimenez. Apparently there's a few injury doubts there or whatever with Knox and stuff like that. And Robinson, who I haven't seen all season, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, chat, but he's still out. So I don't know what's wrong with him, but he probably needs to get himself fit sooner rather than later. On to one of my favourite teams to talk about in Spurs. Now, Romero, Udogie, and Odobert are all available for this game with Chelsea. Basically, when he was quizzed about Romero, he said that they'll have to wait and see whether it's from the start, whether it's from the bench, how long he can actually last. So that's going to be something to keep an eye on. He then talked about Van de Ven and basically gave him a bunch of praise and said he needs to do it consistently. Then he talked about Solanke, and apparently he's going to be out still until after the international break. Kulusevski is not on the grass, so he's no danger of showing up and taking minutes off anyone in the foreseeable future. That, again, will probably be post the international break. On to Nottingham Forest and Sean Dyche. I was going to say Ange Ball then, but no, it's not. It's actually Sean Dyche now. Wood is still out. He might make game week 11, but he's definitely out of this week. Zinchenko, Bakwa, Aina are all out, but they are making progress. How good the progress is, we're not 100% sure, but they are making progress. So, yeah, keep your eye on that one. And then on to the main one, the main event. Sir Harry Maguire Amrin is still unsure about. So obviously they had training, and essentially he is pretty much the only doubt from what I could gather from his press conference. Everyone else is training, which is also including, for the first time with the squad this week, Lisandro Martinez. Now Martinez reckons he's good to go, etc., but it makes sense that Man United are going to play it relatively safely because, let's be honest, he's been out with an ACL, he was out with a metatarsal, he's been out for a long time. So I think they'll take it slowly, and we probably won't see Martinez until after the international break, and probably not even that close after the international break. On to Arsenal. Saliba is a wait and see. Martinelli is out. Odegaard, Havertz, Madueke, Jesus are still weeks away, so they're not imminently returning. And then he talked about the title race and basically said it's a great opportunity and said that Burnley's going to be a tough game. And essentially, we're going to play for 1 or 2-0 and shut up shop. That's pretty much what I got from his press conference. On to Manchester City. Pep Guardiola was asked, is Haaland fit? Yes. I love Pep Guardiola. When he talks about Haaland, it's always like one-word responses. Yes. Or it's, I'm ready, or he's ready, or whatever it is. Rodri apparently is ready to help. Didn't say from the bench. That's me paraphrasing. But essentially, I'm reading through the lines, and I don't see a world where he starts. Based on the way Pep talked about him, I would suggest he's probably going to be on the bench and might come on in the second half. Foden's 200th game is this week. Now, I can't believe I've sold Foden in his 200th game. I'm actually gutted. If I'd known that it was his 200th game and I hadn't sold him, I would have kept him for this week and probably captained him. Just because if there's a week where he's going to bang, it's going to be the 200th game. And he does feature in the card calls later on in case anyone's wondering. Semenyo and Iriola, he basically gave him a bunch of praise, said Semenyo is an amazing player, has been for a while, and that Iriola is a great coach. Then asked if Bournemouth win, should they be in a title race, and basically said, go and ask Iriola. Typical Pep Guardiola, you've got to love it. On to Newcastle. Now, Lewis Hall, who might cause issues in my own team, because obviously I own Dan Burn, he is close. He's not going to be making this game, but he's getting close. Then apparently Asula's got a bit of an ankle problem. They're managing that. Wisser is working hard and he's on the grass, but he's not imminent to return in terms of to the lineup. It's probably going to be post the international break based on what Eddie Howe said. And Eddie Howe likes to talk a little bit in riddles, so that's me trying to sort through all the fluff for you. Then he talked about putting away form right, because the away form from Newcastle has been the case for, the last couple of seasons really, is significantly worse than when they're at St. James's Park. Now, if they can't go to West Ham and keep West Ham out and score a couple of goals, I don't think Newcastle are going to finish in the Champions League places this year, because that West Ham team is atrocious, let's be honest. On to Everton. Branthwaite and Patterson remain out. They've both had surgery and they're going to be no good for a couple of weeks. Everyone else is okay, bar a few knocks and bruises and little bits. That's David Moyes' words. It's not mine. It's exactly the words he used. He didn't say who it was, but we all know that Ndiaye loves a bit of an injury, so I wouldn't be surprised if it was him. Then on to Brentford. Lastly, Hickey and Yao Malik are both fit for Palace. Arthur joins De Silva and Malambo on the sidelines, who also have knee issues. Now, hello to everyone that's already in the chat. Get your comments in. I will be looking at them in the designated comment sections. So yeah, keep your stuff in there, and I'm actually reading what you guys are putting. I'm just not responding to it as we get through the important stuff. When we get into the fun stuff, I'll be responding to everyone's comments. So keep them coming in there. So, on to the fixture difficulty rating, and I love talking about this because, can you believe it? FPL Towers, Mark Sovens must have tuned into a video of mine and thought he might actually be onto something. Fulham might actually be a green fixture for most teams. I mean, he didn't go fully committing because he didn't make Wolves, West Ham and Burnley dark green. And let's be honest, they are dark green fixtures. If they're the three teams you want to be playing against because they're crap. I mean, Wolves haven't even won a game of football and we're 9 weeks into the season. How does that not qualify you for a dark green on the fixture difficulty rating? I've got no idea. Obviously, the yellow is for Nottingham Forest because you don't know how they're going to go under Sean Dyche. We do expect them to improve, but I know the FDR on FPL Towers has got them as a green away from home. I'm not so sure about that. We need to see a bit more from Dyche before I can make up my mind on that. Arsenal are now the hardest team in the game. They obviously copied me because I said that a couple of weeks ago. Liverpool have been downgraded to red, and I'll be moving this difficulty. If Liverpool lose to Villa this weekend, they are going to become a grey fixture next week because at the moment they are conceding goals for fun. They don't defend at all. I'm very concerned for them, let's be honest. And then obviously, Man United. Now, they could become a red team. And it's not me getting giddy. I am a little bit giddy. Let's be honest. I am a little bit giddy because we're playing well. But Manchester United look good. They look good on paper. If they keep scoring goals and they keep attacking, they'll be brilliant and we'll be taken off. So yeah, that's how I've got it at the moment. I've still got Leeds are down the bottom. Their fixtures go horrible very, very quickly. Doesn't matter what FDR you're using. Spurs are not overly fabulous the next 3 weeks either. Liverpool, I don't know what to make of them. Burnley, again, ditto. And even Bournemouth, like they've got some nice fixtures there, but they've also got some really tough ones as well. So there's a bit hit and miss as well. So just keep your eyes on that in terms of when you want to sell certain players or not. So should you believe the hype? And I'm going to throw this over to the chat. Get your chat in now because I want to know whether you are believing the hype about Walter Mateta, who's currently scored 4 goals this season in his starts for Newcastle. Welbeck, who's scored 5 goals. Ironically, he's the cheapest by a significant margin in this thing. So Welbeck only costs 6.4 million. Walter Mateta costs 7.5. And Mateta, who if you remove that hat-trick game, would have scored 2 goals. And I believe both of them were from the penalty spot. I could be wrong. One of them might not have been from the penalty spot. But if you remove that hat-trick game, it's not very good stats. And he cost the most. So which one of these, are any of them actually worth your investment? Because I'm going to delve into the forward topic very shortly. I'm very concerned for Liverpool. Very concerned screaming, that's for sure. And I just don't know. I'm not sure. I've sat there and I've looked at them all week, right? So I've got Jared Bowen still. And the original plan was to bring Mateta in because I do believe that their fixtures are really good. Now that Nketiah is out injured, I mean, the minutes should get better. He's on penalties. There's a lot. I can understand the excitement about him. Welbeck, my concern is Christmas is coming, extra games are coming, it's getting colder, he's 34, and Herzl's not going to tell us if he's injured until we get to the game and all of a sudden Welbeck's not in the squad. That's my problem with Welbeck. Walter Mateta, Wisser is coming, and he's good for a goal a game from what we've seen, but that's about it. Now, with that, yeah, Mateta's definitely proven. I would definitely give you that. Yeah, exactly, Walter Mateta, yeah. Well, that guy Welbeck's is worth it. I love Welbeck. Don't get me wrong. He's an ex-United player. I think he's great as well. I'm on the Walter Mateta hype train. I'm getting him in for Bowen. Lovely. All right, so lots of people actually are convinced about it. Now, I'm going to show you something else. So if you believe the hype train about that, why are these 3 assets getting no love? Well, not as much love. I'm going to leave you there to have a look at that for a second. So the 3 players I've got on screen for anyone that's watching this back and listening to it audio, Šeško. Now, I know that's probably going to be a little bit debatable. That's me getting a little bit giddy about Man United assets, but they've got a really good run of fixtures. Šeško's going to be playing at the number 9 position, and I can guarantee he's going to score some goals. So he could be a really good option at 7.3 million. Cheaper than Walter Mateta, cheaper than Mateta, more expensive than Welbeck. Now, Thiago has scored 6 goals from 9 games. He's actually second behind Haaland in terms of the forwards this season. And he only cost 6.2 million. He's cheaper than the other 3 I just showed you. And yet he barely makes the top 7 forward transfers in this week. So he barely makes the top 7 in terms of the forwards being transferred in. And then we've got Isidore. So Isidor's scored as many goals as Walter Mateta, 1 behind Mateta, 1 behind Welbeck. And again, he's dirt cheap. He's 5.6 million. I mean, I was going to put Creepy Jr. on here, but Even Ilson's back, and I do expect him potentially to go back into the starting lineup because Iraola does seem to love Even Ilson. But I'm just wondering whether it's worth spending the money when you can get cheaper forwards that are getting more points, doing more in our teams, and save the money and spend it on where the points are this year, which is not in the forward line. It's not in the forward line. So let's have a look at what I'm talking about. So are we actually seeing the death of the 3-4-3 formation? That is the question I asked, because last season, I pretty much played most of my season in a 3-4-3, and I had a great time because I had Wissa, I had Cunha at points, I had João Pedro at certain points, which I'd rather forget. I had Haaland. I even had Mateta at certain points. There were so many good forwards last year, and the way the bonus point system worked was that forwards, they scored a penalty, they got the bonus points. That's essentially how it worked. This season, it doesn't work like that. I don't think a forward has actually scored a penalty this season and got any bonus points at all. So based on how much they cost, and I'm talking about the ones that are over 7 million, just for clarity, they are horrible value. They are horrible value in terms of value to points that you're getting from them. They've got zero chance of DC points, so you're never going to get extra 2 points from them. As I said, the penalties have been completely nerfed. And if they don't score a goal, they don't get any bonus points. So, for example, Jared Bowen last week got an assist, no bonus points. I think João Pedro's had a couple of assists this season in games where he hasn't scored, no bonus points. We've seen other forwards get assists, no bonus points. They literally need to score, and if they're not scoring and are in a rich vein of form, they're no good. So their value is no good. But yeah, I'm intrigued to know. So, and to put it into context, the second top scoring forward at the moment is Thiago. He's the second top scoring forward in the game, and at the moment, he's being outscored by 10 different defenders and 3 different goalkeepers. Are we actually wasting our time thinking that Walter Mata is a good pick, that Mateta is a good pick? Should we just be sitting there going, Krupi Jr., Mark Gui, Haaland, let's spend the money everywhere else? Because I don't know if it will continue, but it looks like to me, based on all the people that are in the top 10,000, 100,000, they're all playing, they're all rocking pretty much on average, back fours, back fives, they've got all the defenders that are scoring all the points. That's what it looks like to me. So again, I throw out the question there, is this something we should be concerned with? Are we missing the boat? Now, the key question, as I said, is should we be playing one up front in like a 4-5-1 or a 5-4-1, or should we be playing 2 forwards? Or do you want a squad where potentially you can play 2 forwards? And then the next question is, where are the best dead spots? And I think a dead spot, I've made it the decision in my own team. Mark Gui is my dead spot. I've got no interest in playing him at all. I've already played my bench boost, so there's no need for me to have him. And the rest of the squad's pretty good, as we'll get to when we have a look at my team. But I just think the dead spot, yeah, man, I just think it makes sense. It makes sense to put it in the forward line where there's less points on offer. So, yeah, it's João. Oh, okay, yeah, he did. It's very rare that that's happened, bonus points and assists. I think it's only happened on a couple of occasions. Whereas in the midfield, we see Bruno gets an assist, all of a sudden he gets 3 bonus. That doesn't generally seem to happen in the forward line at all. And I think it's a really solid question when we're making moves this week, and that's why I've got to weigh up whether a -4 is actually worth it. Is Mateta worth it? Like, am I just better off just playing Chalobah and hoping for the best? He scores a header against Van de Ven. I mean, that'd be pretty ironic if he did. But yeah, it's something to consider. Definitely something to consider. So, which 6.5 million midfielders? And everyone knows that I don't like one of the players on this list. But for clarity, I'm not someone that sits there and won't provide food for thought, even though I don't rate players myself. I'm not that kind of a person. So, coming in at number top with the highest points per game is Ismail Assar. 5.7 points per game is pretty good. His average of 87 minutes is also really good. And when you compare the numbers, the underlying numbers, his XG, considering he's not on penalties, of 0.48 expected goals per 90, is significantly better than anyone else on this list. So for me, I think it's a no-brainer to be going for Sarr. I mean, 3 goals, 1 assist from 7 starts. He's literally getting an attacking contribution every half a game. Oh, no, sorry, not every half a game. Every 2 games. That's what I meant. He's still under 10% ownership. He won't be by tomorrow morning, but he just looks really good. The fixtures, as you can see there, Brentford, Brighton, Wolves, Man United, that's a hard one, Burnley and Fulham, amazing fixtures for Palace. Then we've got Declan Rice. Now, Declan Rice already 1 goal, 4 assists for the season. The only problem is he was benched in 1 game. So he's actually played in all 9 games, which is why his average minutes is only 79. He's hit the DC contributions twice. He's had 5 clean sheet points. And I actually was surprised by how good his goal threat is. 0.11 for Declan Rice is something I was not expecting to see when I researched him. But the 0.23 expected assist is brilliant because if he's not providing the assist to Gyökeres, he's providing it to the defenders who know how to head a ball and score a goal. So that's the good news because the chances he's creating are off corners and off free kicks, which, let's be honest, Gyökeres is getting nowhere near any of them. It's the defenders that are doing the job. Then we've got Ndiaye. Now, Ndiaye, ironically, has only got one extra DC per thing or whatever, but he's got 10.85 per 90 compared to Rice's 7.95, which says all we need to know about Ndiaye. He's been heavily reliant on that penalty for the goals because his goal threat, if you take out the penalties, is very low. It's actually, I think, under 0.1. Now, his expected assists, I will grant him this. He actually has looked better than I thought he did. I watched the Tottenham game, and how he didn't get any assist in the first half against them is beyond me. That's as much of an apology as I'll give to Ilian Ndiaye. But, unfortunately, if he's creating balls for Beto, he's never getting an assist. Beto is like Dominic Calvert-Lewin. You just cannot rely on them to finish a biscuit, and that's why I don't like Ndiaye. I also don't think he's going to do anything against Sunderland. I don't think he's going to do anything against Man United or Newcastle or Bournemouth. So when you factor all that in, 11 and 15 look great. The rest of the week's not for me. Then I put in Szoboszlai because other people have talked about him, and I'm like, I know he plays for Liverpool, etc., but he's had 9 starts. There's just not much to like about him. Other than the DC points, I mean, his stats are rubbish. 0.11 expected goals, 0.11 expected assists. If you're buying him for the DC contribution point, you might as well buy Xhaka from Sunderland. He'll save you 1.4 million. Probably going to score you more goals than Szoboszlai as well because Slot just seems to be throwing him all over the shop, and that's not going to be good. And ironically, he's actually got the least points per minute, and yet he's literally played 90 minutes in every single game. So he averages the least amount of points. I don't know why you would even consider him when you can consider the other 3. I don't know why you would consider Ndiaye either when you can consider Sarr and Rice, unless you are literally desperate for that extra 0.1. So, yeah, that's what I would say about that anyway. The real question, though, is double Manchester United. Now, I know that I'm a little bit giddy. I'm a Man United fan at heart, and I tell you what, it's good watching the football we're producing at the moment because we look like we can score goals. And that is exciting to watch. And I'm very excited for the watch along tomorrow because I think we'll batter Forest, and we'll get to my predictions in a bit. But Bruno Fernandes, 8.9, and Boomer, 8.2. This is the double up you need. Now, I know people will say that Bruno's been getting the mustard done, whatever. He's still got 2 goals, 1 assist. He's got the DC 3 times. And the underlying numbers of 0.48 and 0.18 per 90, combining with 10.91 expected DC per 90, he is due a monster haul. I'm telling you, very shortly, he's going to get like a 17 and 19 pointer comfortably. Now, we've got the new king of FPL. Salah is retired and Mbeumo has stepped up. And he's taken a life at Old Trafford far better than I thought he was going to. I'm not going to lie. I did not think he was going to be this good, but he's far exceeded my expectations considering he's not on penalties. 0.34 expected goals per 90, 0.24 expected assists. He's got more expected assists than Bruno, and I still can't believe that. There's going to be a lot more doubles from Mbeumo this season. 100%. With the way Man United are playing, they are literally feeding the ball through, flicking it on, and Mbeumo is the one that's getting that high XG shot per game. Until he goes away to AFCON, I think he is going to be the top scoring midfielder in the game. And you can come back here and quote it, clip it up. I just personally believe he's going to. He's going to outscore Bruno. I don't think it's going to be by much because I think Bruno is going to absolutely haul in some of these games coming up. But the reason why you need to consider him, the underlying numbers are both for them are great. If you added them all up, they actually average about 1.1 XGI per 90 combined, which is brilliant. They've got good minutes. They play every single game. They're nailed assets. There's no European football. They're not going to get tired. They're not going to run out of gas. And the fixtures, as you can see there, are delicious. Nottingham Forest away, Tottenham away, Everton at home, Palace away, West Ham United at home, Wolves away. I might even triple captain one of these 2 in game week 14 or 15. If there is no blanks or doubles, That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to captain one of these bozos then, and I'm going to ride it high to the top. They're going to outscore that Haaland's 16-pointer or 15-pointer, whatever he got. I'm really excited. You can tell I'm excited. Man United are back, baby, and so am I. So the Game Week 10 captains. Now, let me know in the comments which person you are currently captaining. I've run, I did consider a few other players. So Dan Burn, Bruno Fernandes, Foden in his 200th game could be good. Semenyo could be good, especially away against City on the counter. Gordon could even be good. But I pretty much looked at the 8 most realistic people that will be captained by the masses. So if you've still got Salah, his record against Villa is unbelievable. Now, I know that when you look at the points per game and his underlying numbers have massively dropped this season, but he does have a really good record against Villa, and I wouldn't be surprised if he did really well. And I think if you still owned him, I would captain him this week. But most people, let's be honest, have probably sold him off and shown him the door. Brian Mbeumo. I've just talked about him. There's not much more that needs to be said other than the fact he's in great form. He's got 29 points in his last 3 weeks. If you look at the last 3 weeks, I think he is actually, he's very close. He might be just off. He might be the top scoring player in the game outside of Mickey van der Ven. I think Mickey van der Ven might be beating him because of that 23 point. But if we remove that, he's very close to the top scoring player in the last 3 weeks in terms of FPL. Haaland, the stats speak for themselves. 11 goal, 1 assist from 9 starts this season. He's literally averaging 1.03 expected goals per 90, which is stupid. Absolutely stupid. 9.4 points per game as well. It's hard to look past him, and I can't believe I've looked past him 3 weeks in a row. And I'm definitely going to be looking past him again this week because I just think there's so many better options. Mateta, when you look at the underlying numbers, he's not far off Haaland. Like expected goals, I think this is the reason why so many people want to buy him. 0.92 expected goals does look pretty nice. That's literally almost won a game. The problem is he's been missing a lot, and that's been half the problem with Mateta so far. So, the fixture's pretty good. Brentford at home. Then you got Walter Mateta. Now, Nightmares boy, I don't know if he's going to captain him. I think he's actually captaining an Arsenal player. I'm not 100% sure. But, that West Ham team is so bad. If you're basing it off the fixture, you'd almost have to say that Walter Mateta could be almost your top option this week. I'm glad I don't own him, so I don't have to worry about it. But I understand the allure of him. He's going at 5.7 points per game. And then we've got the Arsenal boys. So I put the three ones that I've whacked in here, right? So I've gone with Gabriel, who at the moment I have myself captaining. His expected goals and expected assists is nothing to write home about. But if he keeps a clean sheet and gets some sort of an attacking return, he's looking at a double-figure haul this week. And let's be honest, are Burnley really going to score against Arsenal? I just don't see it myself. And, if he gets an attacking return, man, this could be one of them games where he gets like a 20-pointer or something like that, let's be honest. Then we've got Saka. Now, Saka's underlying numbers are significantly better than his actual output. Like, if you remove the penalty goal, he's got 1 goal in 6 games and he's got 0 assists, even though he's got an underlying expected assist of 0.36 per 90. Now, the problem is that Saka is creating for one of the worst forwards in the Premier League in Victor Gyökeres. That might be half the problem why these assists are not getting turned into goals. But it's frustrating, and I don't think he's worth 10 million. But I feel like if you had him, you'd be obliged to captain him. But the real smoky is actually Leandro Trossard. Now, I'll take you back to last season. There was a couple of double game weeks towards the end of the season, and guess what? Arsenal played rubbish teams, and guess who top scored in those games? It wasn't Saka, it wasn't Eze, it wasn't Gabriel, it was one man called Leandro Trossard, who I believe got double-figured hauls in the 2 games in the double game week against crap teams. Now, if that's not enough to convince you that it's not let's be honest. If you look at the underlying stats, they're actually not too bad. His points per game is rubbish, only 3.6, which is the worst of the 8 by a country mile. But I've got a sneaky suspicion that Trossard is going to outperform a lot of them this week. Don't be surprised. You can quote me on that later. I reckon he's going to be good. I've just got a feeling he's going to be great. So, on your questions, I'm going to quickly run through some of your questions. Keep them coming in now before we get into the fun part of the show where we look at my team and a bunch of other things. And at the moment, yes, at 59%, no 41% for whether I should take a hit for Mateta. That's interesting. All right, I've gone on Bumo Bruno for this week. And yes, I'm a United fan. Love to hear it. Going to give it to game week 12 to see what happens with Bumo before going with him, I think. Fair enough. Is there a chance for a blank or double game week? Yes, Uchino. Now, they will announce the fixture next week, I believe, potentially for the Carabao Cup quarterfinal. Now, depending on when they fixture it, you'll know if there's a blank or double pretty much before game week 11. But if there is, it'll be a blank game week 17 for Arsenal, Palace, Leeds and Everton, because Leeds and Everton play Palace and Arsenal in game week 17. The realistic chance of what they would do those fixtures is the Crystal Palace one will move into the second half of the season. You won't be able to take advantage of that. But the Arsenal one, if that does happen, and it looks like it might not happen, so don't quote me saying it's going to, but apparently the Arsenal versus Everton game will be brought forward into game week 16 potentially, which means Arsenal would double against Wolves and Everton, which, let's be honest, that would be pretty sexy. I mean, triple captaining Gabriel in that game week would be pretty next level, you would think. How about one-off treble for United and include Cunha versus... I don't mind it, Steve. I reckon that could be pretty good. I mean, Šeško could be pretty good this week as well, to be honest. Double up with Slabhead. I actually think Diego Dalot could be a really good triple up if you wanted to go that way. I'm going to cover Curse Salah if he turns up now after selling him in a rage after the game against United. And Boom or Haaland, one of them will be my captain this week. Fair enough. Bruno Guimaraes is going to outscore Bruno F, potentially. I played FPL long enough to know Burnley are 100% scoring this weekend. You could be 100% right, Sonny. You say, are Burnley really going to score against Arsenal? Watch the final score now. It'll be Burnley 3-0. I know, love it. My man, Leandro Trossard. I know, I can't even say his name right. Going with a 4-3-3 formation on my free hit this game week, and I don't like it. Even though I have Haaland, Waltermata, and Mateta, I don't like having three up front anymore. Should I stay with it or go with Gordon or Minte? I think I'd potentially get in a 5 at the back if I was on a free hit and then just play 2 forwards. Free hit needs to be at 5 at the back. Yeah, exactly what Sonny said. Bench 1, Haaland, Mateta, Waldemar, Enzo, Minte, Sarr, Saka, Semenyo. You're benching Enzo or Minte in that one. I'd probably go Minte. If it were me, I wouldn't take a -4. Go with whatever you feel. I actually feel like I want to take a -4. That's why I'm asking. How many shots are you having when Bruno Fernandes and Bumo haul this week? I'm going to finish the bottle. Ekatike on the double this week. Could be. It could be being slept on for sure. Will Dan Burn be an instant sell once Lewis Hall's back fit, in your opinion? No. I think Eddie Howe loves Dan Burn. I reckon Dan Burn goes back to centre-back and one of Thiaw, whoever else is playing there, might get booted out. Munoz or Calafiori, one short of Timber. I would go with Munoz, potentially. I think he's going to be really good attacking. All right, I'll get back into your questions when we get into the next section, but let's crack on. Memes of the week. These ones have been good. Obviously, you know, we've had the Man United, Amarin one, particularly Halloween, Liverpool, Brighton, and now he's coming for Forest and my boy Milinkovic. I'm very excited about that. Hopefully, Mbumo's coming for Milinkovic and hands him a new one. Obviously, my favourite one of the week is actually, can you defend £50, whatever you want, babe? That has to be the best one. Surely that has to be the best one. Obviously, Murat, shout out to you. Name, location, and team for spreadsheet I need is obviously a good one as well. The Van de Ven owners is hilarious. And then João Pedro just needs to be put in the bin. And that will be me tomorrow with my drink. How it feels when Mbumo hauls, I'll be there. Gary's obviously shouted out from the pubcast as well. He's a snail. He's snailing, hopefully up to the top. And then we've got Tom. Tom riding a llama. I mean, it's quite fitting. The llama actually suits the man pretty well, let's be honest. And then we've got Ange at Liverpool. Could you imagine Ange Postecoglou instead of Arne Slot at Liverpool? I mean, could you imagine Eric Ten Hag there? That'd be brilliant. That would be unbelievably brilliant, let's be honest. So, think you can beat the D-Unit. On to you guys and the mini league now. So, my place did not move this week. I'm still on rank 972 in my own league, which is god-awful. But I didn't actually move. I didn't move up. I didn't move down. I literally stayed in the exact same spot, which was weird. Now, we've got a new leader who's currently on track to win the shirt. The shirt's down there somewhere. 5 at the back, set, forget. Good name, Ryan. 630 points. He's on 2,746 rank overall. The lowest score this week, I hate to say it, but this has got to be up there for probably one of the worst scores I think I've ever seen. FC Montanda, unfortunately, mate, sorry, this team's managed by Asaba, 28 points in game week 9. That does not feel good at all. And then I feel really bad for Alanga Management. Alanga Management got it horribly wrong with their bench this week. No bench boost played and 47 points left on the bench. I mean, if that doesn't make you feel better about leaving 10 points on the bench, I don't know what will, because that has to be close to some record of points left on the bench. The best trader this week was Burger with Dalot. Must be someone that watches quite regularly. I mean, who calls their team Burger with Dalot? That's hilarious. 19 points. Well done to James. That's how many points he gained from his trades. No Chip Warrior. Shout out to my boy Dylan, one of the very early people to sub to the channel. His team, Kinder and Blumo, no chips, 75 points. Unbelievable stuff. That's a really good game week without a chip last week. One Move King goes to Arthur, managed by Arthur. Not very creative name, but well done, Arthur. Plus 15 points you gained with your one move. I'm assuming you bought in Mbumo for someone that didn't play. Then we've got the hit hero, and I'm pretty sure I saw George in the chat before. There he is. I can see him there. He took a hit last week, plus 21 points, so it was plus 17 from his -4 hit. Oscar Bob's Fossils doing well. And shout out to Control Alt Delete. That's another good name. I'm not sure what chip he played, but he was the manager of the week for game week 9, 86 points. That's literally almost double what I got. I got 46 points, so he did really, really well. But yeah, keep on working. We do this every week. We pay credit. Hopefully you don't end up on some of the bad ones, but hopefully you end up on some of the good ones, because unfortunately someone has to be on the bottom every week, and hopefully you just got to pray it's not you. It could be me this week. So my score predictions for game week 10, and let's get through them. Get me your score predictions in the chat now. I am going for a 2-2 draw between Brighton and Leeds. I think, well, Brighton don't keep clean sheets. Leeds aren't as good away from home. I think both score 2-2. Burnley versus Arsenal. I'm going a 3-0 win to Arsenal. I reckon Gabriel scores, and I reckon Rice gets a couple of assists here, and my boys go absolutely big that I'm bringing in. Touchwood, hoping. 3-0 to the Arsenal, which sounds a bit better than 1-0 to the Arsenal, which was what we've seen the last couple of weeks. Crystal Palace versus Brentford. With Wharton out, I think this game will be a lot closer than I thought it was going to be prior to hearing that news. I think Crystal Palace will still get the job done, but they'll win 2-1. Fulham versus Wolves. Fulham, I was going to say are going to keep a clean sheet, and maybe they do have Anderson back, but let's be honest, they always concede. So I'm going to give Wolves a goal. I don't know who's going to score it, someone. But Fulham are going to finally get a win and ease a bit of the pressure on Silva, and that's going to be 3-1. Man United also don't like keeping clean sheets, and they are going to concede against Nottingham Forest, but they're going to batter them, and I reckon it's going to be 3. It could even be more. I just wanted to be a little bit conservative. Spurs versus Chelsea was a really hard one for me to do, because I looked at Spurs away form, and Spurs away form's really good, but their home form's pretty meh. So I'm going with a 1-0 win to Chelsea and Chalobah to score off a corner. We'll see what the card says about that in a second. Liverpool versus Aston Villa. I'm going for more pain to be heaped on Arnie Slot and for the locals to get a bit restless in the bin dipper city, and Aston Villa to account for them 3-1. West Ham versus Newcastle. I just can't see West Ham doing anything. I feel so sorry for Nuno. I feel sorry for West Ham. I feel sorry for my missus because she's a West Ham fan. Newcastle win that 2-0 for me. Man City versus Bournemouth, I think, will be one of the entertaining games of the weekend, a bit like Brighton versus Leeds. I think that it's going to finish in a draw. I think both teams will score twice. I'm going 2-2. And then I'm going for Sunderland to shut out Everton. Everton have been nowhere near as good away from home as they have been at home. They've actually struggled to score away from home, probably because they've got better up front. And I'm going to go with 2-0 to Sunderland, and Sunderland to stay inside the top 4. So, on to my hot takes for game week 10. Mbumo plus Bruno to perform the 1-2 punch again and extend United's winning run to 4 and get the United strand that little bit closer to cutting his hair. I reckon it's going to happen. I reckon it's going to happen against Spurs. It's poetic justice that it happens against Spurs. So I'm all in on them getting the 4th win in a row. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. The United Strand, it's happening, baby. I'm telling you, I'm sending you good vibes. This is a good week to make transfers, and I'm expecting a lot of net transfer games. Even if you take hits, I think you're going to get a lot of net gains this week, and that's also why I'm currently considering a hit myself. Expect the pressure on teams near the bottom to ramp up in what is always referred to at this time of the season, prime sacking season. And yes, Wolves and Pereira, Nuno at West Ham, even Silva at Fulham are all under the pump. Like, they're under the pump. I'm going Haaland to blank in back-to-back weeks. It's Phil Foden who's going to get the 2 goals in his 200th game, 1 for every 100 games he's played. Gabriel and Mbeumo Mateta will all live up to the hype as the most transferred in players in their position. So Gabriel's the most transferred in defender, Mbeumo the most transferred in midfielder, and Mateta is the most transferred in forward. I think they all deliver this week. And as I said, Liverpool to lose 5 straight Premier League games. It's going to be brilliant. It's going to be brilliant. I think it's going to... I think we're on. I think this week's hot takes are on the money this week. I've got great faith in them. So what does the team look like? And this is how my team currently looks. So I've made my 4 free transfers. We've said goodbye to Krejci. We've said goodbye to my boy Phil Foden. I did not know it was his 200th. I might not have done that move. DCL has moved to the Mark Gui train, which is now firmly last spot on the bench. And then Reinders has been moved to Saar. Now, when I look at the team, I look at it and I go, the question I've got, is the -4 worth it? Because in reality, it would mean that Mateta would need to at least score. Mateta would need to score, get 9 points, and Chalobah to blank to make it worthwhile. Because that's who's coming out of the lineup, right? Chalobah will come out of the lineup for Mateta to come in. Now, if you asked me this last season, I would have just done the move. I would have brought in Mateta for Bowen and thought, stuff the -4, I'm rolling. But for some weird reason, this season, I've struggled taking hits. I don't know why. I've taken, I think, only 1 hit this season. This time last year, I'd already taken 4 hits. And I was well inside the top 200,000. So maybe I just need to back in the dangerous, risky play and just take the hit, bench Chalobah, back in Mateta to do something, and then I'll be pretty happy. And then next week, obviously, we've got Burn, Chalobah, and Gabriel will be starting as the defence. And then I'm playing a 3-5-2 next week as well, because Mukiele's got Arsenal and Senesi has got Aston Villa, I think, from the top of my head. So, again, easy. It just depends. But like next week, obviously, Bowen's got Burnley. So it's a hard one. Yeah, I know. It's just, it's a tough one. I'm caught in a quandary. I'm going to defer to the card. I've got the card calls coming, and essentially I'm just going to let the card decide, because I'm literally sat on a fence. I can understand the reasoning behind taking a hit. I can also understand the reasoning for not doing it and then backing in Bowen to do something next week to make it all pay off. And you never know. I mean, Chalobah, if he scored a goal, I'll be absolutely gutted. I'll be gutted if I do the move and Chalobah does something. But I'm kind of expecting Chalobah to blank. So that's where I'm at. That's the team. Otherwise, it will go into the deadline like that. I can't believe I'm playing a 4-5-1. What does the world come to? So the card calls last week. Start getting your card calls in if you want them in, because I'm going to quickly go through how they went last week. These were the chat ones last week. So someone asked Kukurea versus Gabriel. Card went Gabriel. Got it correct. Someone else asked Welbeck versus Haaland. The card picked Haaland. Got it wrong. Welbeck outscored him. Someone asked Mateta versus Voltamata. Last week, they both scored 2 points. That was a draw. Someone asked Mbeumo versus Foden. The card picked Foden. Got that one wrong. Enzo versus Estavio. Picked Estavio. Got that one wrong. Mark Gui versus Caicedo. Didn't matter. They both ended up on 2 points. Gakpo versus Ekitike. Again, ditto. Both ended up on 2 points. And Mark Gui versus Creepy Jr. It got that one right. Creepy Jr. scored yet again. So yeah, whack your card calls in at the moment. We're going to look into the cards team now and what it has done. And in very big news, the cards team is taking on FPL Nightmare. Now, if anyone's watched FPL Nightmare or seen him on X, he's taken a -12 hit. And I tell you what, the card is not happy that he's showing such disrespect in the head-to-head matchup versus the Cards team. Now, the Card has made 2 moves, as we can see there. Tarkowski has been moved out to Gabriel, and Gakpo, believe it or not, it wasn't Foden, it was Gakpo that got randomly flipped to move out, has been moved out to Trossard. So Gakpo lasted 1 week in the Cards team. The Card obviously didn't like what it saw last week and has shown him the door straight off the bat. The Card's having a mare of a season, let's be honest. But yeah, it's captaining Trossard based on all the card flips I did earlier on today. And it's vice-captaining Brian and Boomo. And yeah, I think the Cards team's got nightmare though. It's got to cover a -12 easily, you would think. So random card questions this week. Now, I love this bit. This is where I have a little bit of fun. And if you want something funny to appear in this section, by all means, get involved in the WhatsApp chat. There's a link right at the top of this the stream. If you look back up at the chat, you'll see it right there. Click the link. This is where I get some of this stuff from. So remember, a yes is this side, a no is that side. If it's a versus, the person on the left is that side, the person on the right is that side. So is FPL boring this season because of the DC contributions? Yes. Yes. Will Everton score versus Sunderland? Apparently they will. West Ham or Wolves to sack their manager first? West Ham, Wolves? West Ham. FPL Timu Jesus versus FPL Yoda Murat. Timu Jesus. Has anyone heard from Roberto? He's off the pubcast. And the answer is no, and no one has actually heard from him. FPL D-Unit versus Trigger Talks FPL in a game of chess. That landed like that. It's a draw. The card can't decide. Double Arsenal attack versus double defense. Double attack. Will Nightmare's 12-point hit pay off versus the Card? No. Unlucky Nightmare. That's unfortunate. Should the D-Unit take a hit for Mateta? Yes. There you go. So, on to the actual card calls this week. I didn't know where that was landing then, but it landed on a yes. So, there we go. We might just do the Mateta. All right, so let's see if the card will double down, because I put some of these deliberately in here for this. So, Mateta versus Chalobah. And then it says Mateta. There you go. It's doubling down, boys. Saka versus Trossard. Whoops. Let's go back. That was Trossard. I'm hitting the keyboard here. It keeps on sending it to the next thing. Burn versus Bowen. Burn. Rice versus Saar. This is an interesting one because I got them both. Oh, it keeps on dropping on the floor. Saar. And Boomo captain versus Walter Marta captain. Now, a few people asked for this one, which was interesting. And it's going with a Walter Marta captain. Welbeck versus Thiago. Welbeck. Foden versus Haaland. Phil Foden's going to score those 2 goals, I told you. Munoz versus Gabriel. And it's gone with Gabriel. So there you go. They're your 8 card calls that I put together based on what I saw coming through in the chat and stuff like that. Now, I'm going to get on to what people want in the chat. Let's have a look. Over to you guys. All right, so card call, Saar versus Minte. Saar, Minte. We're going with Saar. Rodon or Senesi? Rodon. Mbumo versus Foden. Mbumo. Enzo versus Pedro Neto. Enzo. Exactly what I've done it. Mateta can haul any week and I'd rather gamble 4 points and miss out. Sell Bowen, João Pedro and Gamer to Gui. Yep, nice. Start Reece James or Virgil van Dijk? James. Hope it goes well for Nightmare, but I doubt it. Will West Ham score against Newcastle? No. Who do you reckon is better this game week? Walter Marta or Mateta? Walter Marta, apparently. Has the card ever got Foden versus Haaland right? Yes, it has got it right once. Not very often, but it gets it right. It's got it right once. Bruno G versus Bruno F. Bruno Fernandes. Gary versus the template. The template. My wife is versus my lover. Your wife. Mateta or Gyökeres? Mateta. Welbeck or Mateta? Mateta. I mean, the card loves Mateta. It's a sign. Trig versus Gary, i.e. Solio versus Review. Review. There you go. Solio's not had a very good start to the season. Now, on to your questions. If you've got any other questions that you want to ask before the deadline tomorrow, now is the time. Anything at all. It can be anything. I'll answer anything. But yeah, this is your time to get involved in the chat. I'll answer all your questions. And then we'll go from there. Will Haaland score? I don't think he will, but we'll ask the card. And the card reckons no. Burnley to ruin the Arsenal clean sheet. I don't think it will happen. I mean, it could. It could. Had to give FPL Nightmare some hope. I took a -12 last week, got 64 points with a bench boost, and green arrows all around. Chuff. Very nice. How do you like this back five on free hit? Pope, Gabriel, Timber, Calafiori, Burn, and Fuel. I mean, that's pretty good. I mean, I just think there's 2 clean sheets there. It should be sweet. Might throw the captain on Mateta this week. Can't remember Haaland holding too much against the Cherries. Yeah, he hasn't actually got that good of a record against them, Carl Murphy. Burn or Gabriel? I'd go Gabriel, but let's ask the card. And it's gone with Dan Burn. There you go. So maybe Dan Burn's going to get that big 15-pointer that big Dan Burn that Nightmare keeps on talking about, which will be interesting. But yeah, I mean, this week just feels like a week where it's going to be massively swingy in terms of which players you have and which players you don't have. Because I feel like Mbumo, Gabriel, Mateta, the 3 most bought in players, I think they're all going to bang this week. I really think they're all going to bang. I think the hype on those 3 in particular is very real. And I'm glad I've already got Gabriel and Mbumo on my team. And let's be honest, I think I want to get Mateta. Milenkovic be a shout again? Not yet. I would be waiting for Sean Dychebold to get in, but before I'd go there, I think. Pope Munoz, Gabriel, Burn, Enzo, Eze, Semenyo, Gakpo, Walter Mata, Haaland, Mateta is my team this week. I mean, it looks pretty good on paper. It looks pretty good on paper. I mean, the Enzo one, I'm not sure how Spurs get on with Chelsea. That's the interesting game. It's a hard game to call, that one. Yeah, if Waldemar does score, it will definitely hurt a lot. Stay home and eat ice cream or go to a pub and look for a girlfriend. Go to the pub and look for a girlfriend. Sell Gordon for Mbumo or another mid. I wouldn't be selling Gordon this week. Ferris Danish, sorry. He's got West Ham. He's got West Ham this week. I would not be selling him. Wildcarding this week's any thoughts of a good bench boost week? Week 17, if you're buying Sunderland Leeds assets, no, game week 17 or 18, they have good fixtures. Even Burnley have good fixtures that week. I think Burnley play Everton in game week 18 if you've got Dubravka. That's probably the week, if I'm being brutally honest, that I would be looking at. Let's take a -4 live today and you get a good omen. I mean, I don't think I've got the stream ready to go where I can do that. Hold on. Maybe I do. Hold on. I can. Let me see. This is going to look a little bit messy, not going to lie, but we're going to do it. I'm not actually sure how this is going to go down. Oh no, I won't be able to do it because I haven't got anything open. Hold on. Oh, actually I can. One sec. I can do this. All right, this is going to work. All right, hold on. Let's do it. I did say, I promised in the video description, we are doing a live move on stream and we're about to. All right, let's whack it over here. Pretty sure this is my team. Yep. There we go. All right, there we go. We're into the thing. Let's have a look. So, Jared Bowen, it's been a pleasure, and I'm probably going to buy you back again at some point. But I've got to do what the gut's telling me. The card's telling me as well that Mateta's outscoring Chalobah. So, as far as I'm concerned, -4. Let's lock it in. We don't make the late mail a fun show about actually doing something fun in it. So, Mateta is now in, just like that. And we're going to substitute him in for Chalobah. And that's it. Save the team. I don't even have to do anything tomorrow. I'm going to roll up. We're going to take a -4. We're going to captain Gabriel. We're going to vice captain Mbumo. And there you go, chat. -4 confirmed. Card said to do it. I thought about it. I wanted to do it at the beginning of the week. I now feel pretty confident. Double Arsenal, double Palace, double United, triple Bournemouth, double Chelsea. And double Newcastle. I mean, I'm doubled up on a lot of teams. If those teams bang in any given week, I'm looking at green arrows for days. So, yeah, I think we'll know by game week 11, Colm, in case anyone's wondering. So, yeah, there we go. 100, let's talk FPL Andes versus 5 Gorillas. Hold on, that didn't land properly. Oh, apparently 100 FPL Andes. Bench 2, Ndai, Van de Ven, Kukurea, Semenyo, Enzo. I would be benching Van de Ven and Ndai for me. If you know the potential girl, blame it on the Halloween costume she has on. Lovely. 4 at the 5 at the back is the way D-Unit. Extra mid forwards should be Deadwood. I agree. I will generally be playing 4 or 5 at the back. This week, though, for my team, because of the way I've structured it, it doesn't make any sense. I feel like Chalobah, that game I don't want any part of. I don't want to be part of that Chelsea Spurs game at all. But yeah, I think that this week it makes sense to play a 3-5-2. But I'm quite happy with the fixtures my attackers have got, and I'm quite happy with the defenders that I've got this week as well. I love Vermont. It's in the season of the hits. It is 100%. All right, I'm going to hold it there, everyone. Thank you very much for joining. If you're watching this back, thank you for making it through to the end. Again, if you haven't already, make sure you smash a like on the video stream before you leave, and leave a comment if you're watching this back at the end. And if you haven't already, and you're watching it back and you've only discovered me for the first time, please smash the sub button. I've been FPL D-Unit. Thank you very much to Footium for sponsoring the show today. I'll be back with the deadline stream tomorrow and the live watch along at 3 p.m. and there are 5 games tomorrow. That's going to be exciting. You guys have been amazing as usual.